suis très heureuse vraiment de vous accueillir.
I'm very happy to welcome you, the family, the friends of Bernard Maris. Very emotional also to be with you, because 1 year ago, almost on the very day, on the 7th of January, our city was struck by this horrible attack of people who wanted to silence us and destroy us, but we are all here standing. We will be silent and we'll move forward. And this response with Bernard Maris is one of the nicest responses we could have offered. It's a painful date, but it is now part of the history and memory of Paris forever. And those who want to fight for freedom, I say it again here, each has to take their own responsibility in the mode of expression which is theirs. And everyone will say it with his or her own words. We are here for those who died, will never be forgotten. And the message regarding Bernard Maris, his message was a message totally humanistic, with humor and a desire to change situation, to try to get out of protocols and rigid thought. With personalities like Bernard Maris, we are all supported and lifted to make sure that the values he was supporting that are dear to his heart are conveyed, and humanists work in our history around tradition. But how can you transmit, as you said correctly before, what Bernard Maris offered up to now, thanks to his writings, his approach to economics, and his desire to transmit, to share his knowledge with a school, a minority school in the economic thought, but very useful indeed, and which I totally support, both personally but also as the mayor of Paris, because there's no simple answer to complex issues, and it's better to grasp the complexity of the world than to negate it, and it's better to use collective intelligence and think that we are more intelligent than alone with respect to these issues. I think that these principles are principles that must unite us, but they will be very, very useful in the coming years. We are today here together to state that the future and hope must federate. The hope we have with this chair, which tells us something about the power of knowledge over obscurantism, and those who think that human beings, citizens, are not thinking people and acting people to whom we should recognize this intelligence and capacity of action, and that for a certain number of people, I'm speaking from my own chapel, the political world, we tend to consider that citizens are mere subjects. I think that this chair will really help us to get out of this very simple idea that it would be enough to have a decision made at the top and that everything would be solved, and we would solve all the disasters and evils that are affecting our societies. This thought is so dominating that we need initiatives, and we need to support initiatives like what we are going to do today by dedicating and establishing this chair. Because many others than me could talk much better of Bernard Maris, but when working for this chair, it's a tribute to someone who dedicated his life to thinking, to economic thought, to sharing his views with the greatest number of people. And this work, we will help the people who will be in charge chairholder, but within our responsibilities, I would like to greet the Secretary General of UNESCO's presence in our responsibilities as members of institutions who are open, who don't want to close our doors and have a single thought. We are aware of the diversity of the world and of our societies. We can also be useful not only by being there as ferry when this chair is established, but also as institutions that with the solidity and history they have, can help and support in order to strengthen the important and essential approach of sharing the thoughts of Bernard Maris, but also of establishing and creating this church, which has to produce something. What we're doing together is not just a commemoration and remembering that Bernard Maris was an impressive person, incredible person, who was so human that we are here all together to say that beyond the commemoration, which we must have, we have a duty of memory with respect to this attack. We must have this memory duty, but it goes beyond that. What we're doing must help us in treating the problems of these societies. We are not able to treat when everyone is working alone or in a type of thinking that negates the force of other thoughts. So we'll have to cooperate, everyone in his or her own responsibility, the scientific world, the knowledge world, and us political leaders, institutions, and public people with our responsibilities to be able to have an impact on our society. After what happened, not only last January, well, in January 2015, the death of Bernard Maris and his comrades around him, after the terrible attacks of November in Paris, more than ever, we must search at the citizens, with the citizens, solutions. We must have the citizens to design solutions for societies. We have to understand what is happening. We cannot excuse people who commit like terrorist attacks, but if we have responsibilities in science, knowledge, education, in associations or in political spheres, if we refuse to tackle the deep roots that lead to what we have lived, we will be wrong. It is urgent to go in the right direction. It's my belief today as a mayor of Paris regarding what we have experienced together. So we have to move, we have to do something. I'm at your disposal to be present and support these movements in a city like ours. First of all, because this city has values to share, and that's not only words. I have the feeling that men and women and citizens of this city who love this city for what it is, for what it represents in the history. You're here in a room that has seen the Second Republic being signed and proclaimed in this very room. In this town hall, we've lived all the pages of the French history and the history of the Republic in this very room during the Paris Commune. It was the very place where the revolutionary people had their weapons. They came here before the burning of this town hall. It's in this very room where you're sitting. And all this creates certainly a state of mind which is specific to the citizens of this city, not because they were born here, but because at some point they feel that they embody these values and this history. But this doesn't block us. It induces duties and obligations, but it opens an impressive field of possibilities. That's our state of mind. And I'm really aware that in the times we're living, it's with the citizens and with the sharing of knowledge, with debates, sometimes in many directions, but it's in this way that we're going to survive. And since we're establishing this chair, of course, what we want to support what Bernard Maris was developing, and it's not the orthodox of economics, which would seem like a natural science beating natural laws. Some would like us to believe that democracy would believe natural laws. I only believe in human laws. Of course, I don't have anything to say regarding religions. That's part of everyone's beliefs, to have a religion or not. But my deep belief is that it's the men and women who must decide for the future. So we must do our utmost to make sure that their decision regarding their destiny is enlightened and not dictated by dogma principles, which we don't know where they're coming from, and which some people would feel they are have to accept reality. We don't have people who are right and others who are wrong. And in terms of economics, Bernard Maris was inviting us to a certain humility, which says that human beings are fragile, and so it's human thought can be fragile. If it feels like unique, it can be totalitarian, and totalitarian thoughts cannot be the source of democratic societies. So I think that in this chair we can have a lot of expectations. And I will conclude by saying that this week I gave my wishes to the Paris Council, and I proposed a certain number of actions that are related to education, universities, all these fields where we must learn, share our knowledge to the youth and make them involved in the society to make sure that they direct the future of our societies. I made proposals that came to our mind after the attacks of January, like this idea of including all Paris citizens and give a formalization to this inclusion thanks to the citizens' card, whatever the nationality. And from 16 years of age, it's never too early to start to understand how life in the society can work in a democratic system. So I made a certain number of proposals. And among these proposals, one, I would like to insist on for those who are in this room, I saw a lot of people whom I know from associations, academia, etc. I would like you to help us to create this night of the debate night. On the 2nd of April, I suggested that in all the cafes and places we like that are our places where social differences are erased, and that's what we like in this city, these places where all of a sudden everyone can be mixed, start talking together and rebuild the world. There is a proposal I made on which I would like to have your contribution and the support of the people who would like to help us. This debate night, organizing debate in Paris during one night, because the magic of the night gives something different also to the state of mind of those who will come to debate. And of course, to debate, you shouldn't just come and say, okay, I start a debate. We have to do things with respect of the topics we're going to discuss. We need university people, researchers, students, associations to help us organizing this debate night where we'll rebuild the world in Paris. And this would be a beautiful proposal. It's a possibility on which I would like you to get involved because I really believe in what we are doing today. And those who took this initiative have certainly made one of the best initiatives to take the world out of the chaos it is facing, which is due to the lack of culture, which is the evil of humankind, speaking without knowledge, without knowing, it's not being able to act and to take one's destiny in our hands. So more than ever, we need knowledge, We need ideas, ideal, but also men and women to convey and trust our collective intelligence. Thank you very much.